Alice Mead, who is with GW Pharmaceuticals, to talk to us about Epidiolex in pediatric epilepsy.
Good morning, and many thanks to Jackie and the other organizers for giving us a chance to update you on our progress. So I don't need to tell you that there's a great deal of public interest in the use of CBD in the treatment of childhood epilepsy. It seems like daily the newspapers are presenting the cases of desperate families that are trying to change their state laws or travel to Colorado to obtain preparations. Dr. Sanjay Gupta profiled a particularly dramatic case in his CNN program, and an excellent survey was published by Drs. Jacobson and Brenda Porter, and I recommend that to your reading. So there's a growing body of anecdotal evidence, but there are no rigorous clinical trials or clinical evidence, and that is what GW intends to provide to physicians and to patients through our development program. So we are not just a Sanjay Gupta opportunist. We have been thinking about CBD for a very long time. We were founded 16 years ago in the UK to develop a range of prescription medications that are derived from the cannabis plant. And way back then, we thought that CBD had significant therapeutic potential. So in fact, it forms half of the principal cannabinoids of our first product, Sativex. And because of the development of Sativex, we have amassed a large body of preclinical and clinical safety data. So that is already in place. About 7 years ago, we began more intensively to conduct preclinical research into CBD and other non-THC cannabinoids in a variety of medical conditions in a number of models. And in epilepsy, 2 product candidates emerged, CBD and CBDV. But actually, fast forward just a bit, U.S. physicians urged us to take the CBD and develop a formulation for children and to conduct a U.S. development program because they were increasingly concerned that their patients were being exposed to different vernacular preparations of uncertain quality and safety. So hence Epidiolex was born, which is more than 98% pure CBD in a liquid formulation. We are also pursuing the other candidate, CBDV, which is a structurally related molecule with a different side chain. It shares some mechanisms with CBDV, but it has different safety profiles and efficacy profiles in different mouse models. It shares, as I said, some mechanisms, but it hits different ion channels and different enzymes. So we have already completed a phase 1 in CBDV, and we intend to begin a phase 2 sometime next year. So the problem with most of the CBD products in the U.S. are that the composition, the quality, the consistency, and the safety are unknown and quite questionable. And increasingly, there are reports that many of these products may be contaminated with heavy metals and pesticides and contain significant levels of THC. GW conducts all of its cultivation and manufacture under GMP in accordance with strict standard operating procedures and quality control processes. We conduct all of our cultivation by clones in organic medium in glass houses in the UK where every aspect of the cultivation cycle, which is 12 weeks, is computer controlled. We extract the active ingredients, and in the case of the CBD extract, we put that extract through additional purification processes to remove the THC. We remove the THC because we think that the very young brain is different from the adult brain. The very young brain, if constantly or chronically stimulated by THC, that may lead to untoward, unintended, and just a whole variety of consequences that we don't fully understand. But we do know that the very young brain is undergoing rapid neuronal development, and there's a growing body of evidence that THC can inhibit and distort that neuronal growth. There is also evidence that THC in some models and in some animal species is proconvulsant. So we remove the THC. We think cannabinoids offer an exciting new class of AEDs. The endocannabinoid receptor system, or ECS, is sometimes called a supermodulatory homeostatic mechanism that achieves balance in the body by a variety of mechanisms. Cannabinoids don't have a single target or a single mechanism of action. One possible target would be that the ECS can inhibit the release of excitatory neurotransmitters. And CBD modulates the ECS and other receptor systems and non-receptor mechanisms. Inflammation is important in the development of epilepsy. There are no medications that currently target the inflammatory processes, but CBD is a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory molecule. It also inhibits the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines. It's clear that ion channels play a role in the development of epilepsy, and CBD and other cannabinoids modulate the flow of cations and in particular intracellular levels of calcium. The GW program is moving quickly. We've secured Orphan designation for Dravet syndrome and Lennox-Gastaut syndrome for Epidiolex, and just today we announced that we had secured Fast Track designation for Epidiolex. We will also seek Breakthrough designation and other accelerated pathways. We have two prongs to our program. One is the GW-sponsored placebo-controlled clinical trial program, and the other is a series of physician-sponsored INDs under FDA's expanded access regulations. Those began with individual patient INDs, then 5 intermediate-size INDs were approved for 125 patients. Now 300 patients have been approved in 12 sites to receive treatment with Epidiolex for a variety of epilepsy conditions. The first 2 of the intermediate-sized sites began in January, and we expect to release data at mid-year, which is almost here, so stay tuned for that. The GW-sponsored program is, as I said, moving well. We've opened an IND with FDA with a phase 2-3 protocol in Dravet, and we intend to begin the first part, which is a PK safety study in the second half of this year, with pivotal studies in Dravet and LGS to begin in early 2015. It should be noted that CBD is a Schedule I substance under the Federal Controlled Substances Act. It doesn't matter whether it comes from hemp, a laboratory, or a THC-containing cannabis strain, and so each research site must have DEA Schedule I research registration. The expanded access program, the physician INDs, are also going well. There are over 600 weeks of exposure and a range of continuous exposure of up to 60 weeks. Only 1 patient has been withdrawn for lack of efficacy, and this slide gives you the range of epilepsy conditions that are being treated in those expanded access INDs. We think that this will generate a very interesting data set, which may guide us in future development programs, and we hope will be of interest to the scientific community. This just gives you an overview of the timelines of our program. As I said, we expect to begin the first part of a phase 2-3 protocol in the second half of this year in Dravet, with pivotal studies in Dravet and LGS to begin in early 2015. The expanded access INDs will continue until Epidiolex is approved by FDA, and we will be making data communications at regular intervals. Finally, CBDV, having finished phase 1, we will open an IND with FDA with a phase 2 protocol later this year and begin that phase 2 study in early 2015. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. So we have 2 minutes for questions. First, Dr. Katz.
Yeah, do you anticipate any problems with enrollment in your controlled trials for Lennox-Gastaut and Dravet, given that you have expanded access programs and some of the patients in those programs have those conditions?
Some do, but there are a very large number that actually don't have Dravet or LGS. And as the new expanded access programs open, they're trying to reserve some of their LGS and Dravet for our clinical trial program. We collaborate, so they don't operate completely independently.
Any other questions? Can you tell us about the bioavailability of the liquid formulation?
Well, bioavailability, I may not be the best person. I wish that Dr. Guy could be here, but he was detained in the UK. I'm an attorney in the Sea of Scientists. But the oral formulation is probably not as bioavailable as an inhaled or an IV formulation, but it's still for children. For chronic conditions, this would be better.
Any other questions? If not, thank you very much.